Okay, so recording, all good? First of all, thank you all for being here and for being here today, especially when the weekend was promising so much rain and didn't look so easy to be here. And it's Coimbra, I know, not Lisbon or Porto, but we also exist. The building where you are today is called Embaixada, and the place in English is because the embassy. And the reason is because we always believe that it should be a meeting spot for many people, for many ways of thinking, but most importantly, for many different ways of doing things, maybe in different ways. And that's basically what we've been doing here in Embaixada since the beginning, some 4 years ago now, I believe. And today, for our program, we'll be talking about some of the things that we've been building and also things that other people have been building, and maybe show you a different way of doing some different things. Parts of this session are being recorded, as you know, so if you're not comfortable with that, please let us know and we'll try to arrange a way so that you're not on the recordings. This is mostly for the people that are from the outside and they have interest. Eu também sei falar em português, naturalmente, né? Portanto, se tiverem mais preferência que eu fale em português, levantem o braço ou digam-me. Está ali já um. E eu vou tentar falar mais nesta língua para vos poder ajudar também. Portanto, durante a apresentação, vamos tentar falar tanto em inglês como em português, mas, por favor, isto é só uma pequena apresentação pequena. Mais tarde, falem connosco na vossa língua que preferirem. So just to say, the other part is that we will do small presentations on these topics. It's not going to be fully detailed on each one of them. And we are going to use mostly English for some parts, mostly Portuguese for some others. But just contact the people and speak to them in whatever language you feel more comfortable. So I think we can speak in most of the languages here, except Klingon or Chinese for the moment, so but who knows. But anyways, getting back to the program, the Volta ao Programa, as you can see, we have our flyer, and it says most of the things that we are going to be giving an insight to you today. We will start by talking about NOSTR. NOSTR stands for nodes and other stuff transmitted by relays. We have here Daniela Liberati that will be then talking to us about the why NOSTR exists, and then also how you can also start using it. Then we'll also be jumping, NOSTR is very closely associated to cryptocurrencies, which many for sure already heard. Some heard some things, some heard some others. For sure, people that use it, they have strong opinions about which one is the right one or the wrong one. And we will also be talking about the currency side of things. After that, if you see it over there on the slides, we'll be talking more about the other aspects of technology, which means the technology that is a bit more alternative, so not so connected to the grid. And this relates to the off-grid lifestyle. And off-grid lifestyle is a very big, broad term. So it has things like your own water, your own food, your own networks, your own currency. But in the end of the day, your own way of doing things that are not so, let's say, mainstream. And I think in Portugal this year, we had some, let's say, instability on the grid. So we were surviving for 8 hours without internet. I kid you not, there were people over there on the Lidl already reciting the Bible and saying the end of the world is close to you in 5 hours. So imagine this for 5 days. They would just go nuts. Then after that, we'll be having some introduction to radio. So we are very lucky enough to have David here with us. He's hiding over there, assembling the radio. When he's not assembling radios, he will be talking to you about how to get inside of this world of radio. The first steps with walkie-talkies, the first steps with the CB radio, the first steps with other things like Hamnet, which is a type of Wi-Fi network that has long range, so several kilometers of range, but it's not really, it has some differences compared to the normal Wi-Fi that you know. And then in the end, we have here Petinga. Where is he right now? He's hiding. He's already hiding there, as you can see, camouflaged. And he'll be showing you very good evasion techniques to the public, especially with all this equipment, when things go down. So all the stuff that you might need in case the zombie apocalypse starts tomorrow. But I hope that you guys enjoy, have fun, make questions, learn, and don't be afraid to really try new stuff and really question yourselves about the way that we are doing something today. And that's basically it. So I'll now share the microphone here with Daniela.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to talk about NOSTR today and reclaiming the free internet. So my name is Daniela. I'm originally from Canada, and I've been living here in Portugal for 1 year now. So I'm going to share this presentation with Brito. And yeah, just going to give you a quick outline before I start. So I'm going to talk about what problem NOSTR solves, because before we know why we need NOSTR, we need to know what problem it solves. Talk about what it is, how it works, and then we'll do a little bit of onboarding potentially at the end. So I'm going to start with what the internet was. It used to be a free open protocol, you know, connecting humanity. At least that's the image that we had of it, even though it came out of DARPA, which is the American, yeah. But it eventually got captured by corporate monopolies. So right now, Google, Meta, Amazon, the biggest corporations generally own most of the internet. We saw a lot of things happening in the UK right now where you need to provide ID to be able to access basic websites, right? There's a lot of gatekeepers. If you're in China, there's the Great Firewall of China, meaning you can't access every website. So these are a lot of dark things. I'm going to talk about really positive stuff in this presentation, but I think it's important to understand what's happening in the world before we talk about why we need them. We see a lot of rage bait online, right? Algorithms pushing fear, violence, hate, division, darkness, all this fakeness for one thing in the end, which we'll talk about. Lots of advertising. Some of you might have seen this ad back in 2016. Maybe this one now, these fake AI ads that keep popping up, right? All this monetization and stuff. And we got all these fake books on Amazon. You don't even know if the books were written by real authors these days. These posts are very popular on Facebook among people who unfortunately aren't aware that they're fake AI clickbait type posts. And so all of this has led to the theory that 50% of the internet isn't even real anymore. People are saying the dead internet theory means that 50% is just bots and not even humans. And when there are humans, there's a lot of inauthenticity, right? Synthetic filters and stuff. You don't even know who's real anymore. So long story short, the problem is that all of this is because we are the monetized product, right? All these services are free, but they're monetizing our time, our energy, our very existence. So I want to ask you, why? Why is this happening? What is the one word, the one thing that all of these corporations, individuals are after? What one word would you use? Attention. Yes. Why do they want your attention? What's the value of your attention?
Make a profile.
To make, sorry?
Make a profile around you.
Why are they making a profile around us?
Mind control.
Why do they want to control our minds?
Power.
Power? Okay, why do they want power? What enables the power?
Money.
Money. But not just any kind of money. The money is fiat money. So fiat means to declare or to decree in Latin, okay? And fiat money is any type of money that we see. Dollars, euros, pesos, yen, lira. So whenever I say fiat, think of euros or whatever currency you want to think of, okay? Because they're not separate. This is one global economic monetary system and everything is interconnected. It's all tied back to fiat money. So fiat money is based on inflation. We live in an inflationary monetary system where governments just print as much money as they want, right? But here's the thing. This leads to a certain incentive structure for humans. What happens is when we have unlimited money in the current system, this leads to decreasing purchasing power. Can you buy more things this year since 2020 or less things? Absolutely less, for sure. So that's inflation. Because they're printing so much money to try to prop up the economy, we can buy less things. And so that puts people, that incentivizes us to have a more greed-based mindset. Competition, war, fear, people being more in survival mode, right? And from a consciousness perspective, this keeps us in ego consciousness. So we're more focused on division, polarization, separation, etc. So the thing is, this is going to get worse. The topics we're talking about today are incredibly important because I think most of us here know that this is going to get worse. And the reason why is because governments need to keep printing money. They can't stop. If they stop printing money in our current system, everything would implode, right? And that's why we see all the banks getting bailed out, et cetera, et cetera. So unfortunately, the internet's just going to get worse. So what could solve this problem, right? Well, we first need to change the incentives of money, because as long as we need to keep chasing money in an inflationary system, this is not going to stop. The second thing we need is to free the internet. We need a better internet that's no longer captured by all of these corporate monopolies and governments. So how would we change the incentives? We just saw this. Remember, fiat means euros, dollars. This is our current system. We need to flip the pyramid upside down. So in order to do so, instead of having unlimited money, we would have scarce money. That would lead to increasing purchasing power. And logically, we have technology. Technology, AI, is designed to make us more productive. Prices should be falling. No businesses use technology to make things more expensive, right? We're hiring less people because we're using technology to make things cheaper. So there's a system that enables that. What would this lead to from a human perspective? Well, people wouldn't need their jobs. We wouldn't need to work for money. We'd be freed, but we'd still do things, of course, that we love. But that would lead to more connection, collaboration, innovation. Unity consciousness does not mean that we're all the same, and it's not communism. It's sovereign individuals serving the collective, and the collective serving the sovereign individual. And I think that's our natural state. Humans wanting to help each other. Coin. And I'll talk a little bit more about why eventually, but this is a system outside of fiat. And the second thing would be freeing the internet. So one, the money, and then second, the internet. So right now, the internet, it's a protocol, it's a stack of technologies. So we have TCP/IP, HTTPS, DNS. These are all things we use every day, but we're not aware of it because it's just a big stack of technologies. And the apps on that are proprietary. It's increasingly centralized, and it's based on fiat. So we're leading to more control and surveillance. So we'd have to change these things. What would we need to change? It'd need to be free and open source. It would need to be decentralized. So there's no one central AWS, Amazon owns the entire internet services, and when things don't work, everything goes down. I don't know if people noticed, not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, a bunch of websites weren't working because they're based on Amazon services. So you couldn't access a bunch of websites not too long ago. And then the incentive would be based on a better incentive structure. So it would lead to more freedom, more sovereignty, more truth, more abundance. And where are we seeing that happen right now? These things already exist. We don't need to I'm living in that world right now. NOSTR. It's being built right now. And so the thing that can solve the problem that we talked about at the beginning, all the privacy issues and the government's cracking down, really is Bitcoin plus NOSTR. That's why Mastodon and Blue Sky are great attempts to have solutions, but they're not solving the problem because they're still based on fiat money. They still drive incentives toward, getting more money.
What is that privacy with Bitcoin?
We'll talk more about it for sure. Yeah, I understand the question. So I'm going to explain what NOSTR is. NOSTR means notes and other stuff transmitted over relays. Sounds like a big mouthful, but it's actually pretty simple. Notes and other stuff. Notes means text, for example, of course, but it could be photos, videos, any type of file that you can send over the internet, pretty much. And other stuff, right? So text and other types of files. Transmitted over relays means sent, and then relays are pretty much just decentralized servers. So I could run a server, my friends could run servers, y'all could run servers, and so it would just hop, the information would hop. So that's pretty much what it is. It's like a decentralized internet. It's free and open source. It's completely decentralized, so it's run on relays across the globe. And it's a protocol, which is really important. I'll explain what that means soon, but it's a stack of technology. They can't be stopped. So if I have an account on NOSTR, nobody can take my information because it's completely decentralized. Example, Facebook's like, oh, I'm going to shut you down. They can't because my friends are running relays. Other people are running relays. And there's no advertising. Oh, finally, yes. I'm a YouTuber. I'm like, I've demonetized my channel. I'm tired of seeing ads and making people see ads. So yeah, you don't have to see them because there's no algorithm. You are your own algorithm. You get to see what you see, what you want to see. You're free to choose what you follow, what you don't follow. You have nothing being pushed in your face, which is wonderful. So what is this protocol thing? Well, I want to explain first how Bitcoin's a protocol, because it's really important for privacy. So Bitcoin's a protocol, meaning it's a stack of technologies. So on layer 1, we have on-chain Bitcoin. This part is built for security. That's all it does. Decentralization and security. That's really important because having a strong foundation is necessary to have the privacy and the scalability on layer 2. Lightning is still Bitcoin. It's just private, fast, secure Bitcoin. And the thing is, people are using this in NOSTR. That's why it's really important to talk about. There's layer 3 and layer 4. They're work in progress. Things are being built here as well that are also private. NOSTR is also a protocol, so it's built on top of the Bitcoin ecosystem. And on layer 2, you have clients, which Brito will talk about a little bit more about later on. And there's more things being built. So it's a stack of technologies, free and open source. These are the things that win. The reason everyone uses the internet today is because it's a free open source protocol where tons of people were like, wow, there's value here, I need to build something. So I want to talk about monetization because it's really important. On NOSTR, which is private and secure Bitcoin and very cheap to send transactions. And you can send sats to your friends, which are fractions of Bitcoin, small amounts of Bitcoin, instead of just liking a post. And what happens with that is that this person, for example, receives sats, which today is worth €7. But that's today. Because Bitcoin is designed to increase purchasing power over time. I'll cover it in a second. I just wanted to mention this one here. The person says, you don't really need an Instagram account anymore. All you need is NOSTR. I've had thousands of followers on Instagram, 500 pixels in Flickr as a photographer. And I didn't sell a single photo over there. I've already sold 5 thanks to my website and NOSTR. Value for value is real, and it works. It's already happening. So what does that mean? What is value? I wrote a book. For me, it's value for value. That's the only reason I'm selling it. It helps me scale my Bitcoin education. So my only source of income is this book and NOSTR, just sharing Bitcoin education online. And what that means is people pay me based on the value that they think they received. So if I'm actually providing people value, they'll zap me Bitcoin. And today I can't live off of it for real. I made like €25 last month. However, I know how Bitcoin works and where it's going. So here's what happens. When you buy Bitcoin, it's like planting a seed. When we plant a seed in nature, we're not constantly checking out and making sure it's growing, right? We're just letting it do its thing. And so 4 years later, that's when you start to have greater purchasing power. You have a small tree. 8 years later, it's a bigger tree. And then 12 years later, it's a bigger tree. I've experienced this. I've met tons of Bitcoiners from very early Bitcoiners who are already experiencing it. And you might be like, well, history doesn't repeat, da, da, da. All I can say is study Bitcoin. Okay, so why NOSTR? And then I'm going to pass it over to Brito for the second part. Why are people on NOSTR? Freedom of speech, freedom of transaction, EU censorship vibe, Germany, the detox thing, yeah. And then seriously, because I want to build the future that I want to live in. And that's why I'm there. I am living in that future, and I really want other people to be able to see it. And so that's all. I'm just motivated to share this education with other people. So he just left. But I'm going to let Brito talk about why NOSTR. And then I'll talk a little bit more about my book after, just to explain what it's about. Yeah.
How are the relays connected?
Good question. I don't think I'm technical enough to explain exactly how technically they're connected, but I think Brito would be able to explain. But they're all just connected together. Like
Cable or by
okay, like by internet, I guess.
yeah. It's like the last level of freedom that we talked about. So apart from the internet is the access to it.
Brito, this part's for you. It's going to be what is NOSTR? And we have questions about how relays are connected. I think you're probably better placed than me to explain it.
Well, they are connected the same ways that email servers are connected. So they basically know the addresses of each other, and you have to talk to them. So let's imagine I know your name, which I do, And then I also know your IP address, just like I know any domain name. So if I want to talk to you or to Daniela, I know she's daniela.io, if my memory serves me right. And she can be serving a NOSTR relay on it, on a given port. So computers, they have many ports. If you talk, I'm sorry if this is basic for everyone, but when you're using HTTP or the web, HTML, you're using port 80, right? So it's port number 80, but the other numbers up to 64,000 something, they can be used for other services. And for NOSTR, I think it's 15,520. So if you knock on that door, on that domain from Daniela, you're talking to her relay. She can have a private relay, by the way. My phone can have a private relay. Your phone can have a private relay. Even a browser can be a relay with a reverse proxy. It's just really a location where you can store the messages from Danielle, your own. Or if you're following someone like Danielle, you can also follow his messages and keep it on her server if you want to. But think of it as an email message. If you think about an email message, you don't really think that it's attached to one server, right? We don't think about it that way. You don't think about, for example, when you look at Twitter or Facebook, we all know that the messages are on Twitter or Facebook. But with NOSTR, think about it like an email message. So it goes somewhere, but even better because you can copy it. You can even put it on paper, for example, print it again, and then you can use some other thing and put it back on the internet if you really want to, which is nice for archaeology. But the point, and I think now I can get more into the technical part of NOSTR, is that these things are just plain text files, really text files. You open Notepad, you can read them. But, important part, they have your signature on them, which means that that combination of the text it gives an hash or a key code combination together with your secret key. And that means that I can verify that the messages came from Danielle or from Daniela, but not from Danielle 1 that tries to pose himself as Danielle. So there is a very clear way with a key to prove that I'm reading the messages from the person that I want to follow. And I said, hey, Danielle, I want to follow your messages. And attention, I don't need to know her name. This is the beautiful part. I don't need an email address. I don't need a phone. I don't need an address. I don't even need to see your picture or your face. And believe it, we already had difficulties sometimes to get to know each other. But I only need her public key. So this is a concept of public key and private key for those who are not familiar. If you are ever on the cryptocurrency world, this is quite common. You have a wallet. The wallet has your private key, but then you give to all the other people your public key. On NOSTR, very similar. You have your private key to yourself, but then you give the public key to others. That's your ID, a randomly generated number. Now, when I want to write a message to her, I write it with her public key. I know her public key, I write it to her. And the message gets encrypted with her public key. The only way that someone can decrypt this message is if they have the private key that is related to that public key. There is no other way to do it, at least that we know of so much. But this guarantees me quite certainly that she will be able to open the message if I send it to her. And people in the middle, they cannot do it. But the other utilization of this message is that if I write a public message to her, or she writes a public message as well, we know that the person who wrote it has the hash created by that private key. We can verify this with the cryptography. So, you know, Daniela was writing it, Danielle was writing it, and not some other poser or some other thing. So why does this matter? Because you're not following servers anymore. You're not following, let's say, you are following now people or things or keys. But the thing is that, for example, if you're shut down from one service, let's imagine Twitter changes owner one day, and then the owner doesn't like you for some reason, because you use a yellow hat, for example. Then you're gone. Your identity is gone. Everything that you wrote is gone. But if you're using NOSTR, you're sending your messages to Twitter, to Facebook, to the other servers, to the other servers, to the other servers, and more important, you continue writing them. So anyone else that looks for that person with a yellow hat can go to other alternative servers, because the guy will be advertising, hey, I'm now here. And you can verify that the person in some other location is still the same person that you wanted to follow because of the public key. So I would say, in my opinion, that's the key advantage of NOSTR compared to anything else. For your information, I've been running my own forum and social networks for really for more than 20 years now. Forums, before BBSs, then came forums afterwards. And you know what? It died because I wasn't paying the hosting fees for it. I didn't have enough money at some point to keep on hosting it, and a lot of viruses and things got outdated. My server died, my forum died. 60,000 people that wrote their memories and were using that forum, they also lost them. With Nostr, you don't need to count on me to host the server. You can send your emails or messages, in this case the notes, to someone else, many other people, and to your information of servers, or you can run it in your own phone if you want to, and they are still reachable. You don't lose the people that you're following. The memories are always there. Memories mean pictures, texts, things that you want to share, they continue there. So I think that's the beautiful part of it. So that was the introduction. So thank you very much, Daniela, for it. I think for the other part that I wanted to show you is really how to get inside of this world. So how can you get your feet onto it, and how can you start using it on your own? Well, I have good news for you. The first thing is that, well, you don't need an email, you don't need a phone, you don't need anything else. You certainly don't need a digital ID to be able to use it. So that's the good stuff. But then there's the not so good stuff, is that there are way too many ways to get inside of it. So if you want to install Twitter, you go on Google Play and you install Twitter. If you want to install Facebook, you go on Facebook and you find it. With Nostr, it's like, okay, which email server am I using? I'm using the email. No, the email is a thing. So there are so many different clients with different recommend to you. Ah, she's already there. Fantastic. So if you come from the world of Twitter, I would recommend Primal, that is already here. And there is that ugly guy over there talking. So, and from there, it's the most similar experience you have to Twitter or to Facebook. So they basically try to replicate your experience when going into Nostr for the first time. So you can follow people as you want, you can do likes, you can do retweets, you can do all the things that you used to do with Twitter, but this time, not on a single server. This time, not being monetized. This time, not being monitored. And you're even anonymous. Because you can send things to other relays and people can't track your IP address. So when I'm reading them on Primal, my Primal browser will be fetching them from different relays, all the people that I'm following. It's really darn difficult to track you on this system. Primal is the one that I recommend, but they only use a small little part of what you can do with Nostr, just small, because you can do many other things. So maybe we can try some other, let's say, Caracal or... Oh, yeah, like I said, goes on. Go to NOSTR-02 if you want, and there they are collecting all the in Portuguese, David? Or English? Okay. So, and all the things that you would care, and try them out. You can try them. There is even a browser extension that I recommend that you install. Why? Because when you install that browser extension, you don't need to put your private key anymore on any of these websites. So the website asks for your private key permission directly to that extension, and then it gives you permission directly, but without revealing your private key. It's much safer. It's what we use. So you can try any of these Nostr websites, and this is not just for messaging, it can be any website with a login and so on, just with Nostr. And it's beautiful because then it knows your picture, it knows your things that you share, and you just try the service right away without any more installation processes. And most important, look, you're not tied to Gmail for a change. You're not tied to Facebook. They don't need to have permission to see things you don't want to share. So it just works quite good. I would advise you to try it. I'm not going to make this any longer, but try it if you want. If you have difficulties, come to me, come to Daniela, come to other people that also use Nostr, and we'll be here to help you as well. So this was the first session. I hope it was not too long. So like we do in Portugal, now we do a very big pause and we go for some more beers and then back with the next session, okay? So please go, enjoy, take your time. Thank you very much.
You know, the Canadian guys are fun contact as well. Okay.